Hey folks, it's Azure Friday. I'm here with Aaron Roney, who's going to talk to me about the Azure CLI. You got your Mac, you got your Bash shell, you're all set.
I'm all set. I even have the hyperterm too. I'm pretty proud of it. It took me like 80 years to get it in the state that it's in.
It's pretty cool. You got like the cool
the power line.
Power line, very nice. Yeah. That means Microsoft's not evil, like it.
Yeah. Correct.
Cool. Okay, so you're on a Mac. I assume this works on Ubuntu as well. We're
Indeed.
using the Azure cross-platform CLI.
Correct.
Okay. So what's new in the CLI?
So pretty recently, we started allowing extensions in the Azure CLI. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what those extensions are, where to find them, how to install them, things like that. And then we'll talk about one of the new experiments we're doing with extensions.
And now, can I write my own extensions?
You can even write your own extensions. We have some that we kind of have Microsoft internal, but anyone can write an extension, and anyone can put their Python wheel file out there, and anyone else can then go and install those extensions.
All right, very cool.
So the first thing I wanted to show is the docs. We love to talk about the docs on the developer experience team.
They're really good. I mean, like there was a time, we won't say when.
Correct.
We won't say what it was, but there was a time when Microsoft's documentation was not very well thought of.
Exactly.
But docs.microsoft.com is fantastic. The CLI docs for Azure CLI are fantastic, and they're all up on GitHub, so if you see a mistake, you can change it.
That's probably one of my favorite things, because I see mistakes too, and it used to be, who do I go talk to figure out how to fix this mistake?
No, they're on vacation, you can't fix it.
Exactly. And nowadays, me, you, customers, there's edit buttons on almost every doc. You can click that button and kick you over to GitHub. You can either file issues in these repos or send a PR.
Very cool. And the CLI is open source as well.
The CLI is open source as well. Actually, if we were to go to one of the reference docs, those are all in the CLI repo. So you click edit over there, they'll kick you over there. If you just look up Azure CLI, GitHub, you'll land in the same place.
All right, cool.
So extensions are rather new. You'll see this doc is middle of last month. And we have some information about how to use the extensions, things like that. So look up Azure CLI Extensions. You can see all of the information here. And then we also show some Microsoft extensions that we've been building if you want to look those up as well.
Now, are extensions something where it's an experiment? Are they all beta? Or is it just that not everyone needs all of the kitchen sink? So
all of the above, column A, column B, however you want to look at it. Some of them are experiments. Some of them we run as experiments. Some of them other Azure teams run as experiments. Some of them third parties may run as experiments. But it's a little bit of both. Some of them are just newer features that we kind of want to get public feedback for. So maybe less experiments, but more just let's harden these commands before we go out the door with them.
Oh, that makes sense.
Exactly. So I'll show a little bit of that in the actual Azure CLI here. So very easily, you can just do AZ extension list. If I could type. And we'll see I have no extensions.
Okay, so that's local extensions, not available ones in the cloud.
Exactly. And if we want available ones, we can do list available. Except I can't type.
I would have been impressed if that worked.
And
there's a ton of ones available.
There's a ton, so to make this a little bit easier, we've talked about this before, but we can use the James Path query language to make that list a little bit more readable. And you'll see today we're going to talk about the Alias extension. It's one of the ones that we're experimenting with. And so in that case, I can install that extension with AZ extension add name alias.
And is it downloading it at this point?
It is.
Okay.
So they're defined in Python wheel files. And now that we've added it, it lets us know some extra information about the extension. But we can go back up. Oh, that's no good. We can go back up here.
Oh, and now you have Alias?
And now we have Alias.
All right.
So now that we have the Alias extension, here's the part where we're starting to get into the fun part of what Alias does. We can do pretty simple aliases. So a lot of people, they may not like typing group, or they might prefer to type ls instead of list or something like that.
That's fair.
So once we have the Alias extension, we can start creating aliases. So we'll do AZ alias create, and we give it a name. This is the name of the alias, and then we give it the command that we want it to run for that alias.
I see. So RG is an alias for group.
Correct. So now I can do AZ RG list instead of AZ group list.
Oh, interesting. So like I used to use Azure it was like the Azure command. It wasn't AZ, it was Azure, and there was like Azure site list.
Exactly.
And now it's web app,
Yeah.
and that bugs me.
See, so you could just alias site to web app. We could go in, make name site, and then, and I'll show you in a second, we back all of this with a configuration file, so you can also edit it by hand if you'd like.
Oh, okay, which means I could then even roam that file and get my aliases everywhere.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. We put it on your path, and so there's the one alias we added. I'll get that out of the way. Exactly. So as we add more or remove some, that file will change, or you could just go vim that file and change it if you'd like.
Am I only aliasing commands, or am I aliasing parameters to commands, or entire commands with groups of stuff?
Everything.
Really? Okay.
So that's kind of what I was going to show you next.
Please.
And this one, it's a little bit more typing, but it's a lot of fun once we get it going. So what I find is...
So you have to say Azure alias create, AZ alias.
Oh, thank you.
I want you to succeed here on Azure Friday. We're setting you up for success.
Setting me up for success. See, that's why.
That's the value we provide here on the Friday.
That's why this works. So I like to figure out what version of Kubernetes I'm using on some of my AKS instances.
That's fair.
Because sometimes I want to make sure that they're the latest up to date, or I just downloaded a new kube control, and it's a future version. I want to make sure my AKS instance is...
And I've actually had Kubernetes instances update their minor versions or their build versions in the middle of a talk.
Yeah, which...
You know, like you do.
Like you do.
So it's good to know.
So what I'm doing is...
So you're creating a new alias from scratch. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Get K8s version isn't a thing.
It is not a thing. And then what I can do is like you mentioned, pass a parameterization here. So
and that parameterization is even using another alias, RG.
It can, yes, it can.
It's aliases all the way down, okay.
It could be aliases all the way down, along with the turtles. So then I can use those aliases in my command. Just like so. And because I'm wanting to get just the version, I'm going to query Kubernetes version out of the response.
Okay.
So I can even put the queries in part of these aliases.
Oh, so you're not just controlling what you type to get what you want, but also how you get what you want back.
Exactly.
Like if you don't want the entire JSON object, you just want the version.
Correct. And then finally, I don't want the quotes around it. I might want to pipe this into a variable or something like that. And so I'm going to output that as a TSV. So assuming that I typed everything correctly,
that would be amazing.
We can now do AZ get K8's version. And we can type the resource group name first, and then the name of my Kubernetes instance, and get our Kubernetes version back out of that instance.
That's pretty cool.
So it's pretty powerful. We have plans for more features, and part of the reason why we have this extension is so that we can get more feedback. So feel free to file issues on GitHub or let us know what you think on GitHub. And then we want this to be as powerful as possible for maybe, like you said, you don't like the word web app, you really want site, let's say. Because, exactly. And so you can even make these letter long. I know, a lot of people, they'll do git fetch with GF or git branch with GB. So you can start just doing like AZA. If you at least know what that means, you can get these 3-letter things that just make life easier.
Well, I'm just thinking about this right now. There's a site that I bounce regularly in order to clear the caches out, and I'm constantly trying to remember Azure web app, site reset or whatever. I just want to make like Azure restart or whatever, or reboot the cloud. I can do whatever I want.
You could do slot switches. So let's say there's you want to swap a slot. You could just make one parameter the first slot and the second parameter the destination slot, and you could make a 3 or 4 character alias that swaps those slots for you.
Now, this command that you just typed here was somewhat long.
It was.
But the work paid off because it made a very nice, clean alias.
Exactly.
Where do I get the documentation on that long, scary alias command?
So we also have a doc specifically because we're trying to experiment with this alias feature. We may not have quite as much documentation on all of the extensions.
But you have the source.
We have the source. So yes, if you want to check out the source, we have an extension repository, or other people who write extensions can point you to their source. We do have a specific doc on the Alias extension because we are experimenting with it and we want to get more feedback. So you can go to this doc and check out everything that I've done today. It's right under the Azure CLI docs. You see extensions, and then we have Alias extension here.
All right.
And what I showed is very similar to another one where, what if you just want to get the IP of one of your VMs without having to type a bunch of stuff? You can create an alias to do similar thing that I just showed.
I could see people creating extensions that are specific to their company and then distributing them to all of the developers within the company. So internal private extensions.
Yeah, and kind of the reason why we have that file backing it is for that reason. A lot of people have their .files repos and things like that. I know that I have mine, and I have aliases that I've actually put in my repo for that reason, so I can just share it between all of my machines.
All right, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, I am learning all about the power behind the Azure CLI here on Azure Friday.